Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel and welcome back to another Manchester United based live stream. Today we are talking all about Michael Carrick because how can we not? He has been absolutely fantastic since coming into the club. He came in at a point where it was all a little bit disjointed and unsettled. Ruben Amorim was sacked, Darren Fletcher came in, didn't do amazingly well, took a long time to get a new manager in, and it looked like the season might just be slipping away from us. However, with the form that Michael Carrick has been able to get from this Manchester United team, the season is far from over. In fact, it is very much alive. If you'd have told me, sort of 1st of January, I would not have expected Manchester United to be third, especially 6 points clear of the likes of Chelsea, 5 points clear of Liverpool, 3 points clear of Villa. I just didn't see it coming at that moment. I was always hopeful and optimistic that we could get ourselves in the top 5 and secure Champions League football, but I didn't expect it to look like this, and I didn't expect it to go so well. I didn't expect the results to be so brilliant for Manchester United. And it does start to raise the question, should Michael Carrick be the full-time permanent manager of Manchester United? Now, of course, we need to do a little bit of fence sitting, acknowledge the fact that there is still a lot of football to be played this season. There's still 8 games to go. There's still a lot of different things that will happen and things will change. But I do think for the first time, we need to start sort of actually having this discussion. Should Michael Carrick be the full-time manager of Manchester United? Now, what we're going to do today is look at a couple of stats that I've picked up on, which I think look quite good for United. We're also going to go to the tactics board, as always, and have a chat about the setup, what I think United are doing well, what I think United need to do more of, and perhaps even discuss the profiles that we would need to sign in the summer if it's Carrick as manager, as opposed to someone else. And then I really want to hear from you, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? Because Carrick has got us, again, just absolutely on a roll. 9 games at Manchester United so far, 7 wins, a draw, and a loss. With that loss being away from home against Newcastle, which happens to the best teams sometimes. It's just been amazing. We are the form team this year. If the league table started when Carrick was appointed as manager, United would be top of the league. Which, I know, it's a bit of a silly stat, of course it is, it's just 9 games. But it shows just how good our form has been under this fella. So we have to have the conversation. Before we do that, though, I want to hear from you guys in the chat. How are you feeling? This is the first time that we have spoken properly since the Villa win. How impressed were you after the Villa win? I personally really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good performance. Other people, though, online weren't so impressed. I think particularly in the first half, there was a lot of comments being thrown around sort of like, same again. Nothing's changed in a couple of weeks off. But I thought quite differently. I thought we did some good things at the weekend. So let me know how you felt about that performance and whether that changed your view of Carrick, either positively or negatively. I'd love to hear what you think. Carrick has done amazing. Completely agree. However, interim for 6 months, gunning for results with minimal pressure is a very different task from full-time management. You are absolutely right. Also, by the way, my people, make sure to use the poll that is at the top of the chat to have your say. Should Carrick get the job or not? But that is a great point. It is a very different job. When you are interim manager, your job is to get results right now. When you are full-time manager, you've got to think about the next 3 to 4 years at the football club. You've got to think about keeping more players happy, player development, and building for the future. Whereas Carrick right now doesn't have that pressure so much. David, good morning to you, mate. Look at David, always making time to drop into the streams, even with his big move going on. Hope you're well. Hope things are going a little bit smoother. Hope you're getting there. And of course, thank you very much for the gifted membership. Guys, you know what to do. Love hearts in the chat for David. Make sure to say thank you because he's an absolute legend. He really is. He really is. So thank you very much, David. Feeling ecstatic after that Villa win. It was a big one, wasn't it? It was a really big one. I feel like we've said it so many times under Carrick leading into a game. Every match has almost felt like a 6-pointer. Everyone has almost felt like a must-win. This was another one. And it was a good win, in my opinion. Villa aren't an easy side to beat. I'm going to keep saying it. And the fact that Chelsea lost to Newcastle and Liverpool drew with Spurs, and of course Villa lost to us, really went in our favour. Can we start to be cheeky and have a look at Manchester City? I think we can just about write the title off. I don't think we're going to win the league this campaign. But can we be cheeky and have a look at City, potentially? Could we be second, best of the rest? Possibly. It's something to target. They did drop points again this weekend. No team can dominate a game for 90 minutes. I think especially in the Premier League at the moment, we're seeing that. I don't know from you guys how much you watch other teams. How much of City do you watch? How much of Arsenal do you watch? But like you said there, no one at the moment seems to be able to completely dominate for 90 minutes. Arsenal probably get the closest, but even they don't to the extent of creating high quality chances for 90 minutes. It very much at the moment feels like a league where you got to stay in it, you got to be very competitive, toe to toe for 90 minutes. And when you have your spell on top, which will come, you've got to take your chances. And when the opposition have their spell on top, which will come, you've got to be sort of resolute at the back. And I think that's why United have done so well under Carrick, because our forwards have been fantastic in the final third, especially in the box, they've been electric. And defensively in our box, we've done very well. Football, weirdly in the league right now, is more competitive all over the pitch than ever, which is meaning more than ever, it's really the two boxes that count the most. And I think that's where we look really good. Really good, actually. Feeling confident. I like it. I like it. A lot of people throwing the name Luis Enrique in there as well, which I do understand. Yeah, he is absolutely a big one. What we will probably do, at the end of the season or maybe just before, depending on if we hear news on the management situation, is Carrick going to get the job? If we don't hear sort of immediate news, we will do a video covering some different managers. We'll probably do some streams on it as well and have a look. My concern with Enrique specifically is I think he's an amazing manager. I think he's absolutely incredible. I think what he did with that Barcelona side, in particular, with the Messi, Neymar, Suarez front three was phenomenal. And PSG last season were fantastic. Not seen so much this season, to be honest, but last season they were incredible. I think he's a great manager. I think he's a great guy. My concern with Luis Enrique is he a man to build a team? Because United aren't the finished article yet. Certainly not in terms of the squad. We still need more. We all know that. We've got a lot of young players that need a lot of development. And we've got several players that we need still. Even after this summer, there will still be holes in the squad. I don't know if that suits Enrique so much. To me, he's a bit more of a manager who comes into a complete squad and he takes it over the finish line to win the league. Are we quite there yet? Is it just one step too early? Maybe not. Maybe not. It was a good win, not a great performance against Villa. The number of aerial balls in the box first half without Sesko was bad tactics, and it's Carrick's fault. See, I thought it was a good performance as well. Great result, agreed. Good performance is what I thought it was. I do agree. The idea of all those crosses into the box in the first half without the presence of Sesko was a little bit confusing. I didn't quite understand that decision. However, there were more numbers in the box, which did go some way to making up for it. Not all the way, I still would have liked Sesko in there, if we're crossing. But we did have more players in there, so there was a tactical tweak that went alongside with it. It wasn't just suddenly spamming crosses, it was the way we were working those crosses, working the space, and then we were getting numbers in the box. But yeah, it wasn't Sesko. Wasn't Sesko. Haven't been able to enjoy a stream properly in a while. Nice to see you all, lads and lasses. David, it's good to see you as well, my friend. Second half was good. See, I've been back and watched the game. I think, first 20 minutes, I think Villa were the better team. In terms of sort of their tempo, looked a bit better. They looked a bit sharper, a bit more on it than us. But if you go back and watch the first half an hour of the game again, United were the team that had chances. Villa didn't have anything in the first 30. Not a proper opportunity. Lomans wasn't forced into doing anything. Our centre-backs weren't really forced into anything particularly last-ditch. To be honest, I don't know that there was anything massively troubling for our defenders. Whereas for Villa in the first half, we did have those crosses into the box, which were seriously troubling. They weren't just balls launched in for the sake of it, were they? They were sort of well-crafted moments. So even when I think Villa started sharper, I think United, minute 1 to 90, were the team that could score goals. Villa didn't have a goal in them all day, really, until it goes off the backside of Onana. Or did it? I don't know. But I think we were the better team in terms of threat throughout. Again, the whole game, I thought we were the better team in both boxes. 1 to 90. Even if there was that hiccup in terms of sort of tempo control. Hey AJ, good morning to you. Do you think Cunha has nailed that left wing spot for next season if Bruno stays? Or do you think we need a starting caliber left winger? It's a really, really difficult one for me because I think Cunha is good enough quality to play every game for Manchester United. I think he is a good enough footballer to do that. But the tactical profile isn't quite what I personally want on the left wing. I think Cunha was great again at the weekend. I think apart from Bruno, he was our best forward player, if you ask me. Maybe it changes if we sign a left back that can absolutely bomb forward. Or maybe Patrick Dorgu can do the job, I don't know. But for me, I love Cunha. I think he's a great player, but I don't see him as a left winger is the problem. So I think he's got the quality, but he's not got the quality here. Even though at the weekend he was very good. I do think in the past couple of games, he has, if he's starting 55 games next season, then I think we're going to be a little bit unbalanced, is my problem. Even though I think he's a great footballer. That's the slight problem we've got here. Dalot played better. Yeah. As much as Dalot does weird things, I think we're a better team when he's in the side. I do think we're better with Dalot in the team over Mazraoui. Even though I love Mazraoui. I think he's a great footballer. Maguire was huge in the boxes. Yeah, I think Lenny Yoro had a very good game as well. And Mbeumo is concerning. I agree with that. The only thing I would say is he isn't a striker, is he, Brian Mbeumo? He's not a centre forward. So you're not going to see the best of him here. What he was so great at for Brentford was that running threat out wide down the right, which is difficult to do from up front, but also cutting in from the right-hand side and sort of bending shots with his left foot. But he's not ending up in that situation very often. So I don't expect the best from Mbeumo here, but I do expect more. I don't think he's doing enough. And then sort of the link up with Ahmad, the conversation with Ahmad, it's one or the other. It's one or the other for certain games, and it's difficult to pick because of the profiles. Again, I think next season it'll be easier. I think it will be easier. At the moment, we find ourselves in a position where you sort of feel that Ahmad has to play because he's the one dribbler. So then to get Mbeumo in the team, he's got to go up front. Whereas next season, if we were to sign, let me grab a player. If we were to sign a left winger next season, more of a dribbler, you could almost pair your wide players a little bit if you wanted to. So at the moment, Ahmad has to be there for a dribbler. Next season, we could go, well, actually, we've got a dribbler on the left. So Mbeumo can play on the right and Ahmad can have one out. There's almost a world next season where you go almost right forward, left winger, by which I mean a bit more of a goal scorer, a bit more inside, that sort of threat. And then a proper dribbly winger. And then you could take them both out and then go dribbly winger, wide forward, if you know what I mean. You could almost flip your two pairings like that. At the moment, we sort of lack the variation of profiles to do what we want to do optimally. Till the end of the season, it's a bit of a problem with Mbeumo because I don't know where you play him. Ahmad looks like he needs to be in the team, but Mbeumo's not a striker. I think next season it'll work itself out, is what I'm hoping for, providing we get the right business done on the left. I think my main question in terms of the left wing conversation is, I know what type we need. I know the profile that I feel that we need on a left wing. But what I don't know is sort of the quality and the age profile. Now, the quality profile sounds like a weird thing to say, but sort of on the left wing, do we need that 26-year-old prime left winger who's going to cost £70 million and going to start most games? And, that might see Cunha drop to the bench and be more of a squad player. Or do you sign a 20-year-old, for example, who might cost 30 million, maybe is a little bit less proven, still offers us that different profile, but sort of asks different questions and doesn't put the same pressure on Cunha. Cunha can still have that main spot largely, but when we really need a certain different profile, this guy could come in. Because managing, from a personal point of view, a big expensive striker, big expensive inside forward, big expensive winger, one of our best young players, Bruno Fernandes, best player on the planet, if you ask me. And then a 70 million left winger, keeping them all happy is quite difficult. So do we almost need like that younger one who isn't quite at that level yet, so almost doesn't have the same demands? Or does it just need to be that sort of ready-made profile? That's where I'm a little bit uncertain at the moment. Of course, considering the finances as well of what's going on with the rest of the pitch and the other players that we need to sign. Chad, good morning, mate. How are you? Did you enjoy that Villa performance, my friend? Or the result, certainly. AJ, is there an argument now that replacing Carrick might become a bigger risk than keeping him? Yes. If not the case now, when? Third place finish. Exactly that. We can all sort of throw that question at him. Right, that the performances haven't been perfect at all times. Like I said, I actually enjoyed the performance the other day. I might do something on it on Discord at some point. But I think we can pick things out in the performances where against low blocks, for example, we don't look so great, or we don't kill teams maybe, or we don't dominate the game in a certain way, whatever. But ultimately, if we finish third from where we were, and we sort of keep up a winning rate similar to this, it's really hard to criticise him. You can go like, oh, maybe he's got a bit lucky in certain games. But 9 games isn't a new manager bounce. That's maybe the first 3 you might go, you know what, he's got a little bit lucky, he's just lifted the vibes at the club. 9 matches, winning 7 of them, drawing 1 and losing 1. That's no longer a new manager bounce. That's a manager finding a way to win. And, you know, as much as we like to look into these things a lot and be nerds and talk about the tactics and the underlying numbers and all of that stuff, the ultimate thing you got to do in football is win matches. And Carrick is doing that. If he continues to do that till the end of the season, gets us into 3rd place, maybe even closes the gap to City, it would be incredibly harsh to sack him, or not sack him, but not appoint him, unless we're talking about bringing in the top dog, like an elite manager. If you're talking to me about De Zerbi and Glasner, I've got no time for it at all. Absolutely no time for it. Michael Carrick over them all day long, without hesitation. For me, it's Enrique, maybe it's a Nagelsmann if you could get them, or it's Carrick. They're the ones that are in the conversation for me. He's done so well. He's done so well. And like I said, at this point, you know, I don't think it's luck. I think expecting perfect performance is unrealistic. Exactly. We haven't seen consistent perfect performance, even during the end of Sir Alex Ferguson's era. Finding ways to win shouldn't be underestimated. You know, it sort of is the most important job in football, isn't it? Is to win. We all want a certain way of doing it, and I think our way is quite entertaining. Again, I'll go back to the comment from earlier. I don't know how much you watch other teams. I don't know how much you guys watch, you know, your Chelseas, your Brentfords, your Arsenals, your Cities, your Brightons. Watching the Premier League this season, I have not seen a team that I think is entirely dominant for 90 minutes. I haven't seen what we would call a perfect performance. I do think as Manchester United fans, we've got this thing where we set the bar so stupidly, ridiculously high that from minute 1 to 90, we've got to absolutely blast the opponent off the pitch, score 100 goals, and if they've even had one shot, it's a failure. But actually, realistically, that's not how it is at all. I watch Arsenal and they struggle to break a team down for an hour and then they find a spark from an individual bit of quality, and that's what helps them go on to win. Or I watch City, they dominate possession all game, but they can't quite find a way through the low block until a Semenyo does something magical, or a Cherky. Or I see City getting counter-attacked all the time. I see Villa sitting in 4th, they look great on the ball, but then it gets to the final third and they're slow as well. You know, this perfect football that we all sort of strive for, I don't think exists. I don't think it exists. I think sometimes the bar is set unrealistically high. Like you said, even under Sir Alex Ferguson, I bet if we were to go back now and sort of analyse and break down some of those games, some of them would not be the performance level that we expect. It's just weird how it works. That perfect performance was against City, though. It should have been 5. Yeah, true. But even that, if we were to replicate that over 38 games, people would pick holes in it because of the style of football that it was. Life after Bruno is going to be Grimman. Doesn't exist. Bruno is lasting till the end of time. We've got a super chat. Thank you very much. Should we have gotten Angelo for left wing ahead of Sunderland? I'll be completely honest with you. I'm not particularly familiar with him. We were looking at him before the winter window. Yeah, I will be completely honest. Thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you very much. I'm not really familiar with his name or his sort of profile or his performances. I'm just having a quick look on SofaScore. Yeah, I'm not very familiar with him, so I can't really comment. I can't really say on that. But thank you very much for the super chat. Possibly is my answer. I don't really know. But thank you very much for the super chat. And guys, you know what to do. Lots of love hearts in the chat. The latter sounds better. We need to dump money and experience into the midfield. And we have Dorgu in the squad to throw on the wing for something different. Yeah, I've been doing a bit of work sort of off camera the last few days, trying to figure out where I think the Manchester United squad goes. And I'm getting myself to a point where I'm quite happy with the team that I'm building, the profiles that I'm thinking that we need. It ends up being pretty complete next season with your likes of Dorgu, whose versatility really comes in very handy. Carrick will be appointed irrespective of what we all say here today. I mean, that's not necessarily true. Like, if we were to lose the next 8 games, I don't think he would be. I don't think he would. When we lost Dorgu, we lost the width he provided. That's why our performances have dropped. Yeah, I think that's true. I think even if the performances haven't dropped, they've changed, haven't they? It's sort of thrown the balance off a little bit, which is natural. But again, if we're talking about the form, and performance is dropping. I mean, has it really dropped that much? This is recent form in the Premier League. Points per game, we know that United are doing well, but the expected goal difference, United are doing well. Quite a sort of surface level underlying number, I'll admit, but the sort of immediate first tier of underlying data suggests that United are doing very, very well under Carrick. You know, this isn't lucky wins. In most games, certainly in terms of XG, which I know we can sort of look into a bit more, but certainly in terms of XG, United have been the better team in most games and have deserved to win in most games and are pretty much the form team in the Premier League right now. You know, the numbers back it up. Who are some Premier League midfielders we should get in? We did a stream on that last week, I think, if you want to go and check it out after this one. We spoke about Tonali, Mateus Fernandes, Baleba, Wharton, Elliot Anderson, Alex Scott, João Gomez. There's loads that United could have a look at this summer. It's a really good time to sign a midfielder. A left winger, not so much. I think it's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit of a tough one. Midfield is perfect. It's the perfect summer for a midfield rebuild. Ineos can't afford to make another mistake. If they change Carrick and it doesn't work, Wilcox and Barada are done. I completely agree. Completely agree. I just misread a comment or missed a comment somewhere. I meant subjective to Champions League, of course, but if we get the Champions League, club has what it wants. The Champions League television rights, revenue, and they stick with Carrick. I would hope the club can look a little bit beyond the surface level of simply, you know, finishing position in the table. I hope there is someone at the club intelligent enough to look beyond that. Whether there is or not, I don't know. I would hope, you know, performances against different types of teams are taken into consideration. But who knows? Who knows? I would imagine Carrick will almost sort of have a little bit of another job interview. Where it's like, okay, you've done it for 6 months. What would be a 3-year plan at Manchester United and things like that. It's still so hard to believe that we'll finally have a proper midfield next season. Will we? I hope we do. I hope we do. It feels like an absolutely massive summer for it. I do have this fear, though, that we sort of go for Elliot Anderson. Oh, he's gone to City. We go for Tonali. Oh, they price us out of it. We end up with like a Wharton who maybe doesn't complement us so much, but still cost a lot of money. That's what I'm a little bit worried about. I've recently started getting into football again, found your channel being a great watch to learn about tactics. Well, welcome back to the football world. I hope you're enjoying it. And, of course, welcome to the channel as well. Thank you very much for joining in and getting involved. I need to find a way that I can get the chat somewhere else, so I'm not always looking so far away from camera to read. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Like over here somewhere. Talk about the midfield, by the way, and having a proper one next season. Look at Casemiro down the bottom there with the goals in the last 9 games. That's under Michael Carrick, top goal scorers. Benjamin Sesko on 7. Look at the minutes Sesko has played. Is that 358 or 68? I can't quite see. But I'm pretty sure he's played less minutes than everyone else on this chart. Yet still ranks there. Not bad. All right, I will just be back in literally like half a second. Okay, so it's a bit more than half a second, but I'm back. Henrik, good morning to you, mate. Good morning. I feel like I haven't chatted to you in a while. How are you? Carrick is the guy, and the co-coaches are super. Yeah, been doing fantastic, haven't they? Absolutely fantastic. I love how Carrick talks in interviews and press conferences and everything. The way he sort of responds to every question. Yeah, he's banging it, really, isn't he? Absolutely banging it. And then we got Steve Brooks as well with the 5 gifted membership. Steve, thank you very much, as always. If you did get gifted a membership, please make sure to say thank you, because it is incredibly generous from Steve, and he is a legend. So make sure to spam some love hearts for Steve and also Henrik with his 14-month membership. Thank you both very, very much. Hydration reminder, very important. Make sure to sip your water, my people. Only Haaland has a better goals per 90 from more than 1,000 minutes played than Sesko. I mean, it's phenomenal, right? And this is something that I want to talk about with Carrick and sort of make a case for Carrick, I guess, getting a job. The big thing that we have complained about at United for, well, a long time. A long time at Manchester United we've complained about this, particularly under Ruben Amorim, was, first of all, are any of these players playing in their best position? We saw Ahmad was a wing-back. We had fullbacks that were centre-backs. We had fullbacks that were wing-backs. We had Bruno Fernandes playing on the edge of our box. We'll ignore that for now. We had wingers in 10s and then wingers up front. We had Kobbie Mainoo up front at one point. And it was like, are we getting the best out of the players that we've got? And are we playing them in their best positions? I think that's something that's massively changed under Carrick. The only ones that I would argue aren't is Mbeumo up front. And Cunha sort of isn't properly, truly a left winger, but I think the second there was a fullback flying, he'd be fine. But everyone else just looks like they're comfortable. And it's such a simple thing. But if it's really that simple, Ruben Amorim could have done it, right, and chose not to. I think Carrick has adapted well to the squad. I think he's got players in good zones, good positions. And again, in terms of player performance, they're performing, aren't they? The goals from Sesko. Sesko has been managed brilliantly. Brilliantly under Carrick. First of all, the goals, obviously, great. But I like how we've managed his minutes. Now, I would actually make the case for him starting a little bit more regularly. I think he could play more often because I think we look like a different team when he plays. But in terms of Sesko's development, this last 2 months has been absolutely perfect for him in terms of the pressure of being Manchester United's main striker. Rasmus Højlund was signed at a similar age, comes into the club, big reputation, a lot of expectation, and sort of crumbled under the pressure because that pressure was too much. He was not ready to start every game. He needed another striker ahead of him. Sesko sort of could have come in and had the same problem, starting every game. If he went a few without scoring, pressure mounts on, the media gets on his back, and you sort of crumble and fall apart and never quite reach your potential. For Sesko, it's been perfect having the likes of Mbeumo at the club and Cunha, who first of all take away a lot of the goal expectancy. You know, they can take some of the weight of goal scoring, but also they can literally go and play up front. So Sesko has had his opportunities to start and he's scored goals when he started, but also he can come on for these 20-minute cameos and just keep scoring goals. So he doesn't have so much pressure on him. He's not leading the line all the time, but he's still getting minutes on the pitch. He's still adapting to the league and he's getting his chance to grab goals. I think it's been absolutely perfect for a player of his age. And I do think Cunha and Mbeumo have been so important to that. Obviously Bruno as well. We see him literally coaching him on the pitch the whole time. But I think we are really nursing Sesko through this first season brilliantly. Absolutely brilliantly. Hopefully he can get, 2 to 3 more goals, maybe a couple more before the end of the season. That would be lovely. But then next year, we've got this striker who has a year of playing in the Premier League without being destroyed by the media or weighed down by the weight of the shirt, that has scored goals and has a lot of potential. I think it is just perfect for him. I think it's just perfect for him. So next season and the season beyond that, we could see a Sesko that really kicks on and thrives and can become a 20, 25 goal a season striker. So that's very exciting. I think we're managing that very well. And again, if we're talking about players in best position, look at that fella at the top there, Bruno Fernandes. I mean, he is just a joke of a footballer. He's an absolute joke of a footballer. He's just getting better and better. There's sort of been talks for 18 months now? And even going back further than that, I think the argument that has always been thrown at Bruno is if you want to win a Premier League title, if you really want to win a lot of trophies, you need a different type of midfielder. You know, everyone has sort of said that Bruno gives the ball away too much or takes too many risks or, I don't know, is a bit too emotional at times or whatever to win a Premier League title. How much has Bruno just got rid of that conversation? He is such a complete footballer. He's the best midfielder on the planet, if you ask me, and I think he is very close to best player in the world. He's up there, certainly on form right now. I don't think anyone touches him. He's just incredible, and he's become such a complete player, partly because of Ruben Amorim, to give him credit. You know, Bruno playing deeper, I think, made him a player who sort of weighs up the decisions a little bit better. His risk assessment is a little bit better. Bruno's got that little bit of pauser that used to be spoken about. He's got that aesthetics that people used to speak about. I just think he's incredible. I think he's absolutely just your dream Manchester United footballer. Bruno Fernandes is everything that I want a United player to be. And, you know, if he stays here a couple more years, he will potentially go down sort of with Wayne Rooney as my favourite of all time because he's just an absolute joke. Playing in this high position where he can drop deep, he can get the touches that he likes, he can lead the team, he can orchestrate, but then he's there. He's in those big moments in the final third. He just produces time and time again. Who should win the Premier League Player of the Season? Let me grab my highlighter tool. It's that man there, right in the middle, Bruno Fernandes. This campaign, I don't think anyone comes close in terms of a standout player. There's been some good footballers this season. Your likes of Declan Rice at Arsenal has played well. But I just don't think anyone can sort of chat to what Bruno Fernandes is doing at the moment. He's just absurd. Just absurd. I really, really hope he breaks that assist record. Sesko, I'm looking at you, mate. Make sure you take your chances. I'm really hoping he gets it because he deserves it. And he deserves to be Premier League Player of the Season. He deserves a title at this football club. Is Carrick the man that can get him there in the next couple of years? That's the question. That is the question. I prefer results to some subjective, ambiguous thought about a manager being better. But if you want results, he's been getting them. He's been getting them, this fella. Please let's hope Carrick is not permanent. I'm interested to hear your reasoning for that sentence. Easy to stay at the club when the team is winning. Bruno might be the GOAT for sticking around in our worst decade. Yeah, I mean, just the numbers that he's hit in what Amorim described as the worst United team of all time, with the worst manager of this football club's history. It's quite impressive. It's quite impressive. And a credit to him for staying. Unfortunately, winning the league will make everyone think Rice is more deserving, but Bruno is the best by far. Yeah, if I was a betting man, I would probably assume the world will give it to Declan Rice, but for me, Bruno is the one that deserves it. By a bit of a margin as well, and I love Declan Rice, but Bruno is clear this season. No one is going to Saudi this year, so we will have an opportunity to keep Bruno and Casemiro. Yeah, I mean, have we seen the players sort of hinting that they want Casemiro to stay at the club? I think Bruno said he'd like to keep him. Was it Lenny Yoro as well? Said that he'd love Harry Maguire and Casemiro to both extend their contracts. I think Cunha has made a comment as well about how he'd love Casemiro to stay. And I'm on board with it. I would like Casemiro to stay now. It's purely wage dependent though, because we do need so many midfielders this summer. As good as Casemiro is, as fantastic as he's been, we still know that, you know, he has certain drawbacks, particularly partnered with Cobby, which don't quite work for us. So we need midfielders regardless of whether Casemiro stays or not. So for Casemiro to stay and us also sign midfielders, his wages would have to drop drastically. I don't think it will happen, but we can dream. We can dream. Player of the Year doesn't always go to a player from the league-winning team. Absolutely. Half of the winners in Premier League history have come from teams which didn't win the league. Yeah, Gareth Bale is the one that sort of, the image of him holding it sort of sticks out in my head. Yeah, I hope I hope Bruno gets it. There was a BBC story saying that they weren't going to reverse the decision. I do think it could change. I do think it could change. For example, if Carrick was to be appointed as permanent manager, would he be having a word with higher-ups at the club and also Casemiro, saying, you've been absolutely huge to everything we've done so far. We want to keep building on that. You know what, stay a year on less wages, mate. Convince the club to do it. It could change. I don't think it will. I don't think it will. Stephanie, good morning. Hope you're well. Lovely to see you. Casemiro has been okay in a season where we don't have cup games or Europe. Next year will show his deficiencies again if we make that mistake. Yeah. That would be the problem. The second you play more frequently, which is why I'd have him on that reduced wage structure and a reduced role in the team. But yeah, I don't think it will change. Edward, good morning. How are you? Look at that lovely little gold membership badge next to your name. What are your thoughts on Stiller and Tonali midfield? Tonali, big fan. Yeah, big fan of Tonali. Like him as a player. Stiller, when I watch Stiller, something about him, he just doesn't do it for me. He doesn't move me enough to be sort of spending big money on him and signing him as a Manchester United starter. As a sort of third choice midfielder, you know, you sign 2 premium and then you maybe have Stiller as the other, on like a cheaper Adam Wharton sort of vibe. I don't mind it. But if he was to be one of our 2 main midfield signings, I would feel a little bit underwhelmed. I sort of see his main trait is his long passing and his direct passing, which I think is really good. And the numbers look fantastic. But then when you actually watch him play, I don't know, there's like a ball movement speed which is lacking a little bit, I think, for Premier League. Concerns me a little bit. Seems pretty lightweight. Yeah, he's certainly not a physical player by any means. So yeah, sort of as a squad option, I don't mind him. He doesn't quite move me enough for a starting position, though. He wouldn't get in my team ahead of Kobbie Mainoo, for example. Or Casemiro, to be honest, if he was still here. The thing with Casemiro is his career ending deserves a better contract than we can offer him in this part of United's trajectory. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I question whether Stiller can survive pace and physicality of the Premier League. Yeah, that would be a concern, which means if you've got that concern, you've got to really bring it on the ball. And Stiller's movement speed of the ball itself, not him physically moving, sort of moving that ball quick enough, particularly on long passes. I feel like they float a bit too much. Do you rate Wharton? You can't rate Wharton and not rate Stiller? I absolutely can, because whilst they may be similar in profile, for me there's a big gap in terms of quality. And Wharton has proven that he can do it in the Premier League, whereas Stiller, I have concerns over that. And again, for me, it's not about Stiller's work rate. It's not about his defensive robustness. It's that his sort of selling point is his passing. And watch some of the speed on a lot of his long passes. They just sort of annoy me. I think he floats it too much. And I think in the Premier League, you'd see it becoming quite ineffective at times. I might be wrong. I will watch more of him. But I haven't been convinced so far. I'd say Adam Wharton is the Prem version of Stiller's profile. Yeah, same profile. I just think Wharton is much better at it, for me personally. I think there's a big gap in the quality of the ball sort of movement. Yeah, the De Ligt situation, I'm not sure what is going to go on there. What has happened to De Ligt? I'm not sure. We are going to do a stream at some point, sort of assessing the Manchester United centre-backs, talking about what they're good at, what they're bad at, what profile we're missing. But we will have to have that conversation of who can we trust? Who can we rely on over the course of a season? These guys are going to be close to 50 games by the end of the campaign. 50 games out. Maguire not so much, but he sort of isn't that reliable. But especially these two. I'm of the opinion that you sell one, and I have been for a long time. I just don't know who, and I'm scared of having that conversation. What's the gap between the two? Wharton is not a better passer. See, that's just where we disagree. Difference of opinion, which is absolutely fine. That happens in football. We can disagree. I think Wharton is a much better passer. Again, ball movement speed is what I'm talking about. The zip on a pass is what I'm sort of alluding to here. I think Wharton's got that edge. The way that he takes the ball on the back foot on the half turn as well. I just think he's got that edge for me. Just got that edge. De Ligt has some serious back issue or something, which is really concerning. He had such a good start to the season as well. He was absolutely fantastic. But a back injury is a worrying one, because it is one that can sort of keep popping up and happen again. And it's a difficult one to recover from. He's apparently had a few setbacks, hasn't he? So for the long term of his career, that's concerning for De Ligt, which is a real shame, because he had found form this season. He was performing well. You sort of feel sorry for him as a player, don't you? So much of potential at such a young age. Never had 2 full seasons with the same manager. Got these injury problems. Just feel sorry for him, because there's so much potential there. Not just zip in execution, but decision-making speed. Wharton faster than Stiller. Yeah, that's what I mean. Just that speed of getting that ball, getting it and moving it. I don't think there's many in the world that do it quite as quick as what Wharton does. Wharton's a bit of a freak, to be honest, with how good he is at it. It's a shame about his off-the-ball deficiencies, because on the ball, the ball speed of the passing is phenomenal. I see Dorgu as an overlapping left back rather than a left wing currently. Yeah, for me, he's not a left winger. Patrick Dorgu, I think he can play there. I think he can do a job there as a squad option. It's nice to have, but he would not be my starting left winger next season. There is no chance of that. It wouldn't be an ideal world for me. Overlapping left back, I think he can do. The question is going to be sort of defensively, how good can he be from that position? Can he defend frequently enough at left back? Wing back's a little bit different, because you've got that extra centre back covering you. Normally he'd have Shaw with him. Now it's going to be him if he is to be left back. That's my question. But I think he's a really nice squad player, because he can play here, probably here if you needed him to. Voice crack. So yeah, it's going to be a really useful squad player for us next season. I'm not sure I see him being a regular starter, sort of in our best 11. Not sure. We'll have to see. Hopefully he comes back before the end of the season and can play some games at left back, so we can assess that. That would be Very helpful, because if he can be that flying, overlapping fullback, then that can save us a lot of money in the summer and allow us to spend it somewhere else. So I'm not sure. AJ, thoughts on Coyote as a Dalot upgrade? Absolutely love him. Recommended him as a Dalot upgrade probably 4 years ago. Fantastic footballer. I'm just a little bit concerned about the technical. The physical is fantastic. The defensive work is a joke, to be honest. A little bit Wan-Bissaka-esque. Offers in the final third as well. Good runner off the ball. Yeah, Coyote's a seriously good footballer. I said, I think it was 4 years ago. It was him and Diakite, who was a right back at the time, now plays centre back for Bournemouth. Those were the two that I was looking at. Yeah, Coyote's a seriously gifted footballer. Like him a lot. He's a physical machine, isn't he? He's like a train up and down the right side. Bit more of a defensive one, if you ask me, but a very good player. Very good. I do fear a little bit for him, perhaps on the ball, at a bigger club. People point at him and go, he's not doing enough of that. Whether that's passing or dribbling or something. I'd probably give him sort of one more year where he is and sort of see how he develops from there. But he's, yeah, good footballer. Really good player. AJ, if we sell Xerxes, we can get 2 left wingers like Somerville and Diamande. Cunha and Sesko can rotate as the strikers. Thoughts, AJ? My thoughts are, yeah, seems pretty logical. Like I said, I've been doing my little bit of squad building myself because I'm a nerd and it's what I do in my spare time. I think that is amazing right back depth. I absolutely love it. I think that is amazing right wing depth. Love it. That is great 10 depth, but question marks over Mount and his future. I almost build my depth across the front line a little bit like this. Let's get rid of the other team. What am I trying to do? Let's imagine we sign a left winger. Let's imagine we sign 1, 2, and I'd kind of like a third midfielder, but I'm not sure if we're going to get it. I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. That might be an academy player. Who knows? But I sort of look at this for squad depth, sort of looking at it position by position. Let's just bump everyone a bit higher. Move Casemiro out. Something like this. I said one of these might be an academy player, perhaps, in which case I'd want an elite signing in the first team. Maybe Maguire's first choice, I'm not entirely sure, but, you know, something like this. Something like that. I think it looks good. I think it looks good. Is Mazraoui in our future plans? I would imagine so. I don't think he's ever going to knock on and really be our starter every week. I don't think he's going to move the needle enough to displace Dalot. I think we look better when Dalot plays. But Mazraoui as a squad player is like stupidly good as a squad player. He starts for most teams in the world. We do just have a very good fullback in Dalot. People just don't like to realise it, but Dalot is a good player. Of course, he has his stupid moments and his off performances, but largely Dalot's a great player. And those two as depth for right back is unbelievably good. I don't know, off the top of my head, I can't think of another team that has that quality in that position. Maybe I'm missing someone, but I can't think of one. Van Hecke has a year left on his contract. It'd be an interesting one. He would be an interesting one. I also like the look of Thiaw at Newcastle as well. It'd be expensive, though. It'd be expensive. AJ, what is your dream midfield next season and who are your 2 starters? Dream, right? So I'm allowed to, like, maybe tempt a player in that I don't think we could. Bruno Guimaraes. Bruno Guimaraes, if I could sign 1. If I could sign 2. Camavinga would be up there, but there's the injury concern. But I just love him as a footballer. I'm not going to be unrealistic and say Declan Rice. Guimaraes and Kobe would maybe be my 2, to be honest. I think profile-wise, they would really complement each other. Guimaraes, Kobe Mainoo, and Bruno Fernandes as a midfield 3 would be a bit of a joke, to be honest, in terms of breaking teams down. That's a trio of midfielders that you want. So that would be up there. That would probably be my starting 2. And then I'd be looking at sort of your Mateus Fernandes for depth. I also adore Elliot Anderson. I think he's phenomenal. I'm not... In terms of team balance, we sort of raised this comment about a month ago. Is he a bit too left-sided, like Kobe, like Bruno? Possibly, but I would still get Anderson in a heartbeat if I could. So Anderson and Guimaraes, I guess, but that's not going to happen, is it? Tonali is another one I think would be a very good option for us. Mateus Fernandes is one that is on my list of you sign him if you can, if they go down this summer. beyond that, the players abroad are probably ones that I need to look at a little bit more. Your likes of Barrios of Atletico. We'll go from there. I know it's the best time to pile praise on Bruno, but I can't get over how much I love Cunha. He is everything United DNA embodied. I think Cunha has been really, really good the second half of the season. I don't know, to start off with, he wasn't getting the goals and assists, and he probably wasn't offering enough outside of that. I think he's added goals and assists to his game more frequently, and I think his general performance level has increased and improved. I think he's been our best attacker in recent times, if Bruno's a midfielder. I think Cunha's been the best attacker. Weirdly, his numbers won't touch Mbeumo's by the end of the campaign, but I sort of think Cunha's had a better season than Mbeumo, which is weird to say. Probably just because of the type of player they are. Mbeumo is naturally one who has less touches and sort of applies the finishing touch in the box. But yeah, it's a weird one. Why do I feel like Mainu should be a bench player next season? We need upgrades for our 6 and 8. Yeah, well, I think what that is I don't think that's sort of reducing Cobby to a bench player because we don't rate him. I think it's potentially reducing him to a bench player in the biggest games because of how high we want to aim. You know, next season, I'm not here for the conversation of, can we get top 5 again? That's bare minimum. Next season, you know, people are going to call me crazy. We have to have that conversation for the title, whether we can do it, because the Premier League is in that transitional moment right now where the best teams in the league aren't blowing teams away. You know, if you think sort of the peak Man City team under Pep a few years ago, that they would rock up to these teams, these smaller teams, and just put 5 past them every week. That'd make it look so easy. The Premier League isn't like that right now. We do have to have a conversation of, perhaps United won't win the league next year. I don't think we will. But I think we can close the gap. I think we should be talking about closing the gap. This year was always about getting in the top 5. That was always the sort of bar that I set. You guys can go back to my prediction stream from before the season started. I said top 5 is what Manchester United, this squad, should be achieving. This squad is good enough for top 5. Next year, get the signings right. Top 3 again would be the aim. And I think it's about closing that point gap. It's not about winning the league. I think it's unlikely. But it's about just closing it a little bit, closing the gap. Say if this year Arsenal finish 12 points ahead as an example, can we next year reduce that to an 8 or a 7? So when we're in May, maybe we're just about in the conversation, or certainly in April. That's what I'd like. Same thoughts for next year's target. Arsenal will probably be the real competition. If we can trail closely, I'd be happy. Yeah, just keep in touch with them the whole campaign. Which, you know, this season, if we had a better start, we would have done. Very easy to say in hindsight, but you know what I mean. I think the title was there for us this campaign, if we were serious from the start. With no Europe, no cup runs, the title was there for us this year. It sounds crazy to say. If we had a better manager than Ruben Amorim from the start of the campaign, United could have won the Premier League title this season. But that's all sort of coulda, shoulda, woulda. That's the past now. Not going to happen. Next year is going to be tough because of Europe. That is going to add a lot of pressure to this squad. But yeah, close the gap. Close the gap again. That's the aim for the next couple of seasons. Close the gap to the very top. Compete in the other competitions as well. And just keep steadily growing. Keep getting there. Why don't you think Wharton doesn't compliment us? I don't even know that he doesn't compliment us. I think it's sort of a misperception of his profile at times. And also, just the type of signing that I want at the moment, particularly in midfield. So we'll go through 2 things there. First of all, Wharton's profile is different to what a lot of people, sort of in the general public, perhaps perceive it as. You guys might know differently. But I think Wharton is viewed as this Tony Kroos footballer who has 100 passes a game, completes 98% of his passes, keeps the ball ticking all game, and also can play forward as well. That isn't Wharton right now. It might be what Wharton becomes, perhaps. But right now, Wharton isn't actually that player that you sort of run your tempo through. He's actually that player to split open a defence. You sort of need a safer player with him, in my opinion. So Wharton and Bruno in the same midfield would break down low blocks for fun. They would find it so easy. But in terms of managing tempo, that sort of isn't him, if you ask me. And the other thing is, we've had so many players over the past few years that we look at and they go, they're good, but on my days, he needs this next to him to get the best out of him. You know, we still say it about Cobby, for example. I personally like the idea of a couple midfielders which are sort of a bit more well-rounded, that don't need a certain profile. if you could get any of Tonali or Fernandes or Guimaraes or an Anderson, whoever, they can sort of play with anyone pretty much because of their profile, because they're very complete. Wharton, a bit like Cobby, feels like one where you need a specific partner. And for how I would like to rebuild the team, it's just not what I would be doing. I would go for more complete players, more than specialists. But Wharton is phenomenal, isn't he? He is very good. And he does bring something that we don't have currently. So it's a weird one. You know, I'm not going to complain if we sign Wharton, but he's not the type of midfielder that I would go for. That's all. That's all. See you later, Alex, mate. Have a good one. I tried to say 3 things at once there. Completely discredited Amorim. I just think we can all acknowledge that the form was poor under Amorim and that the squad was always better. I said it at the time. You know, the squad was always better than 15th place last season, and the squad this season was always good enough to challenge for top 5. To make it clear, I think Amorim would have got close to top 5. I don't know if he'd have quite got there. I don't know. But I think we'd have been in the top 7 under Ruben Amorim this season. Would we have quite made that push? I'm not sure. And I said, I even think Amorim helped Bruno. I think he's made him a better footballer. So I've said that in today's stream. It's not completely destroying Amorim, but I just think tactically he didn't get the best out of any of the players. So yeah, that's where the criticism lies. Even if they choose a different manager, they better pick someone who builds players up. That's what I like so much about what Carrick's done in his conferences. Now, it's a lot easier to do when you win matches, isn't it? It's so easy to be a positive, happy, smiley, calm, composed manager when you win most games. Amorim never had that luxury. Some will say that was sort of self-induced. Whatever. But it's quite easy for Carrick to be positive at the moment. Be interesting to see sort of long-term. If Carrick's here next season, what's his mood in press conferences like if we lose 3 in a row? Or we struggle to beat a couple of teams? Or there's a shock result? What's the mood like then? Be interesting. What do you think the weakness would be in a Fernandes, Mainu and Wharton midfield 3? I assume you're talking about Bruno Fernandes. First of all, the positive against a low block, I think it would be a phenomenal midfield 3. Phenomenal. I think they would do serious work and be one of the most entertaining midfields in the league. I think the small space work would be incredible. Love it. Passing range, beautiful. Dribbling, beautiful. The criticism would be defending transitions would be a concern. When you lose the ball, can you defend a counter-attack? Cobby and Wharton are not the dream profile for that. There's a bit of a height concern or a physicality concern in there as well. There's a ground coverage concern and there's a tempo concern. Cobby doesn't have enough touches on the ball at the moment to control the tempo of a game. Wharton's a bit too direct and Bruno's that creator. So that would be my main concern. Yeah, Steve Holland's done fantastically as well. I think he deserves a lot of credit. Probably the least toxic squad we've had in years. Amorim deserves credit for that. Yeah, I agree. So sorry I can't afford a super chat. No worries at all. You never have to apologise if you can't afford a super chat. Unlike most channels, I will read as many comments as I can, not just the super chat ones. So you're all good. Main consideration for Casemiro should be a player with a big old noggin like him. Yeah, we need that aerial quality, don't we? We're losing something there with Casemiro. It's why Maguire's got to stay, in my opinion, if he was to go. The media have not piled up issues on Carrick yet, I think, because he is English. But the long run, I don't think he should get the job. When things get tough, I don't think he should be the manager. I mean, it's just so difficult to say because we don't know how he'll react when it gets tough. Or what if it almost doesn't get tough for a while. I think the media, maybe a proper mainstream media haven't got onto him, but sort of the podcasts have, haven't they? His former teammates have got onto him. Your Roy Keanes, who just don't have an interest in the best of Manchester United. So, yeah, I don't know. I think there has been comments thrown a little bit at him, even before he managed a game for the first time. And I think now some of those people are riding on past comments, staying on those comments, for the day that we do lose to go, ha, told you so. A little bit like Paul Scholes after the Newcastle game. Is what it is. I hate the Amorim stubborn comment. It feels stupid to me because it's like hiring Pep and asking him to play counter-attack football. Yeah, I think the bigger issue with Amorim, this is an old conversation, isn't it? Was more the stubbornness of the formation, more than the style. I think a manager can have their style and stick to it. I think that's absolutely fine. It's the reason he got hired. Maybe it was the wrong style. Maybe it never would have suited us. But if that's his style, that is his style. We hired it for a reason. Formation, though, in my opinion, any manager in the world should be able to tweak and shift between systems and formations and shapes. And that's what he couldn't do. We've got Zappy with the £5 super chat. Thank you very much. Love the content, AJ. Who would be your top pick for manager if you could pick one or pick anyone? First of all, thank you very much for the super chat. Guys, you know what to do. Spam love hearts in the chat. If I could pick anyone. Am I allowed Pep Guardiola? Probably not. Let's write him off. Tuchel would have been right up there for me. I wanted Tuchel when we got Amorim. Tuchel was my number one target at the time. Not going to happen, I don't think. And the concern with Tuchel would be sort of that relationship with the board. There's always been something that's been a bit of a problem for him in the past. But I would have liked Tuchel. Not going to happen now. Enrique is up there for me. I really like him as a manager. Nagelsmann is a very, very good manager. Very good tactician, good coach. Does get some criticism for sort of his relationship with people. His bluntness with people, perhaps. I'm not sure how that would quite click. Picking one, I almost couldn't tell you at the moment, which is maybe why I'm stuck on whether Carrick should be permanent or not. There's not that obvious option in the summer for me. There's not that obvious he's the one you get. Even though I think there's some very good managers out there. Are they quite what United need? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Nagelsmann is a top manager, isn't he? He's very, very good. Very, very good. Hoping he sort of flops in the summer with Germany, because I would like England to win a World Cup. But he's a good manager. Good manager. Sorry, I do just quickly need to reply to something. I do apologise. Bosh. Harrison, I'll be honest, my English is not amazing. Can you explain that in a bit more simpler terms as such, if you like, for me to read out to the chat? Doesn't matter, he's English, he's the United manager, so the media will get onto him anyway. I think that's true. Carrick gives us hope. I will take that. Thanks for the stream, AJ. See you later, my friend. Took away my Tuesday blues. Anytime. See you later. I don't trust this ownership just yet. Me neither. Not at all. Not even slightly, to be honest. Wouldn't it be cheaper for the board to retain Casemiro and then only sign 2 quality midfielders? Well, yes. Obviously, we've got to consider his wages. He is on quite a lot. Probably some sort of Champions League related thing in there as well. But apparently, Carl Anker, who obviously does talk to people around the club and does have a little bit of inside knowledge, sort of seems to be implying or suggesting that it's probably only 2 central midfield signings anyway, which to me is wrong. It's got to be 3 for me, but apparently it's only 2. So make of that what you will. Thoughts on Van Hecker, as he only has 1 year left on his contract. Really nice option next to someone like Lenny Yoro. Really nice option. If you were to be forced to get rid of Lisandro Martinez because of injuries and the lack of reliability, then you want to replace his passing. Van Hecker would be a nice one. Essentially meaningless possession in a good way, where you keep the ball high and wide to prevent counters and build up. Yes, I do think that is a big part of Carrick's sort of idea. By the way, I've only asked for a simpler term, just I think it's nicer for the chat, for everyone to be able to sort of interpret it. Yeah, I do think that is a big part of Carrick's game, and sort of the way he likes to set up the slower possession at times to look after the ball, because if we've got the ball, they can't score, right? Is sort of the logic. I think that's also what earned him some criticism at Middlesbrough, though. It's good. It's good, that slow football. It looks after the ball. It's good to a point. But sometimes if you slow it too much, you then struggle to inject that little bit of spark and re-up the tempo to create chances and score goals. So I think it's a nice idea, but there is a lot of emphasis on tempo control, being able to speed it up again, and then being able to slow it down, then speed it up again. That's probably something that we need to get better at, which again is why I like the idea of a certain type of midfield profile. But yeah, I think it's something that quite a lot of managers are looking to at the moment. AJ, thoughts on Wilcox? He was an ex-Leeds and Man City player and staff, so I don't trust his decision-making. I mean, yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of all the former City people coming to the club, because I don't want City people at the club. It's a very different football club, run in a very different way, with a very different heritage and DNA. Do I think Wilcox is going to intentionally sabotage because of his former ties? No. Is he potentially up to the job still? Yes. Have I been impressed by his work? No. I need to be convinced by him. I'll put it like that. Wilcox is fine at the club if he does better than he's done. But I still don't want loads of former City people coming in just because I'm not really a fan of it. Not really a fan of it. Tonali, Elliot Anderson and a Casemiro 1-year extension. Thoughts on that? I would snap your hand off for that. In a heartbeat. Yes, please. Absolutely. Where do I sign up? Yes, please. I think there is a bias on the player of the year conversation, without doubt, but no one is on the Bruno Fernandes level. I agree. Bruno Fernandes all day long. Let's hope Palmer joins us. Okay, bye now. Time for you to leave. Thanks very much. One day I'll be able to send all super chats. Oh, like I said, you really don't have to worry about sending super chats. I am these streams. Obviously, the YouTube channel is to make money, right? It pays my bills. It helps me be alive and live, right? So money on the channel is important. But the streams, to be honest, is mainly about trying to connect with the community as much as possible and just have a chat with people about football, which is a lot of fun. And if we do get super chats as well, if we do get gifted memberships, it absolutely makes my day. It's a lovely bonus to have, and I really do appreciate everyone that does it. It means a lot to me. But it's not the reason I do it. You know, I'm here to talk to you guys. I'd like to hear your thoughts, because I feel that you guys, by subscribing and watching the videos and liking and commenting all the time, is what allows me to pay my bills. So I like to sort of then give back with these streams a moment to chat and hear more of your thoughts. So that's sort of what these are mainly for. But of course, if you want to send me money, please do. Do not hesitate. City are cheaters and we have integrity. Exactly that. Exactly that. Thoughts on Edison from Atalanta? All the talk has died down, right? Like 12 months ago, 15 months ago, it looked like he was definitely going to sign at one point. Now, no talks of a move to anyone. He was linked with Liverpool a lot at one point as well. Still a good player. He wouldn't be in my sort of priority list of rebuilding United's midfield. Again, he's that sort where that third choice midfielder, he's a nice option. But he wouldn't be one of my elite bracket midfielders. And as Enric has said, yeah, if you want to become a member of the channel, you can. You get nice perks like the emojis and stuff, which I need to update, and I will be doing that quite soon. I want to change the style of some of them and get more players in there as well. Also, as we approach 100k, which we are getting there is something coming up. There is something for 100k coming up that you guys... Okay, it might cost a couple of pennies. A little bit more than that. But that you guys will be able to get. And there will be a giveaway when we get to 100k subscribers as well. So there is something coming. Just saying. Anyway, I think we've covered everything I want to talk about today. We haven't actually quite got through literally everything that I made. Thought this was interesting. 5th least goals conceded since Carrick came into the club. Again, when you look at the different types of teams that we've played, I think that's important. I do have concerns about us defensively in the high press. But the good thing I will say is, even when the press seems to fail, we don't seem to fall apart. Under Ten Hag and under Amorim as well, we would go for that high press. Maybe we'd be one player short, and it would feel like we just get destroyed and torn apart and everything's gone wrong and the whole team collapses. Doesn't feel like that. I think the press can get a lot better than it is currently, but it doesn't seem to have that panic station implode. It still seems to sort of stay together and players recover well and we get enough men behind the ball. So room for improvement, but still I think better than what we've had in the past. So that's been good to see as well. And again, that's a good thing for Carrick. Should we shift Dorgu permanently to left wing? I don't know, my friend. I don't know. We need to see him before the end of the season. Can he play left back? Or does he show that he's got the signs to learn to play left back? Because for me, he's not quite a winger. Certainly not as a starter. But as a bit of depth, if we were to go into the season next year with something like this, new left back, 3 new midfielders, which, I don't know, may not happen, and a left winger, yeah, that would be lovely. That would be lovely. Because you could play this tricky, dribbly left winger on the left. If you need a proper off-ball runner, you could go Dorgu, or you could go Cunha over there, or you need to look after Sesko. Cunha can go up front, or Mbumo can go up front, Ahmad can go and play on the other wing, Dorgy might drop to fullback, Dallo and Masraoui can go either side. One of these guys maybe can be someone that plays in a 10 if we need them, or one of these guys might be one of those midfielders which can play as a fullback. I think versatility in our signings is what is required to really fill this squad out, ready for a Champions League campaign, which looks like it's going to be on the cards for us next season, which is just great. Just great. Thanks a ton for the content, AJ. Oh, you're very welcome, my friend. Subscribe, folks, and help him out. We need this type of positive coverage. Thank you very much. That is very kind of you, and it does mean a lot. Anytime I see a compliment, it just sort of hits me, and I'm like, oh, what a legend. What a legend. I'm like addicted to making content at this point. It's why I've been so annoyed this season with the lack of games. Like, I sort of can't bring you guys more content at times. Like, sometimes we are clutching at straws to try and find a video. I can't wait for next season. More matches, which means more streams, which means more videos. Hopefully more wins, more enjoyment. I can't wait for it. I cannot wait for it. It's going to be exciting times. I also can't wait for the World Cup. If you like me, why? Now, if you do just enjoy listening to me talk about football, which is questionable in itself, but head over to the AJ Talks Tactics channel. It's a channel where we don't talk about Manchester United so much. We just talk about random football stuff. At the moment, only one video a week. Normally a player analysis video, but there will be some Champions League coverage this week as well. But when we get to the World Cup, I'm aiming during the World Cup for a world where we upload daily on the main channel, this channel, or maybe 6 days a week. And then during the World Cup, 4 or 5 videos on the second channel as well. So if you're interested in football analysis as a whole, not just Manchester United, then AJ Talks Tactics is the channel that you want to head to. Last video was one on Federico Valverde, his performance against City. We recently done one on James Garner, on Mateus Fernandes, Iliman Ndiaye, Eberechi Eze at Arsenal. It's been loads of videos. So yeah, I'm trying to warm up that second channel ready for the World Cup, so check it out. Would love to see Carrick asked about why he thinks the press isn't quite working though. Yeah, for me, I think we just leave ourselves a man short, personally. Because I think he wants that extra sort of protection at the back. I think mobility is an issue as well. Really excited for the World Cup playoffs coming soon. I actually don't even know when they are. But for me, World Cup and Euros is my favourite time of the year. I'm a Manchester United fan, don't get me wrong. And I absolutely love this club. But there's something about international football. Like 4 games a day for a couple of weeks and then the knockouts. I just love it. And I love the way like the whole world seems to almost pause and everyone gets behind it. Rather than some are watching La Liga, some are watching Bundesliga, some are watching the Prem. It's just everyone in one place sort of watching the same tournament. I absolutely love it. Love it. It's going to be a big summer, obviously, for United as well, though. I just can't wait. We've got a World Cup, plus loads of transfer talk for United. Hopefully loads of good players coming in. Pre-season coverage. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I can't wait for it. Maybe a slow couple of months whilst we try and get there, because we play like once every 70 years or something. But yeah, good times coming. Do you like João Gomez? I do. Good player. Good player. Aren't you worried of Bruno's form dipping after a contract extension like Saka, Rashford, and even Salah at Liverpool? No, to be honest, I'm just not. I just don't see it being an issue with Bruno Fernandes. I think he is. It's just different level of performance, different level of self-confidence and arrogance as well, which I love. But mentality, the mindset, that desire to win, I think Bruno is unrivaled. I think he's just perfect. I've got a crush on Bruno. No, I think he's just perfect, isn't he? Everything you want. Everything you want. Anyway, I think we are going to wrap up there because I do need to go sort out today's video and I need to sort out some second channel stuff as well. Again, check out AJ Talks Tactics if you are at all interested. For this particular stream, we are going to wrap up there. We will be back on Friday, 11 AM, so same time as this one, looking ahead to the Bournemouth game, which will be on Friday night. So that is the next live stream. Just a quick mention of Bournemouth. You'll see they've actually conceded the least goals in the last 9 games, only 6. But if you look across that chart to expected goals against, 12.59. So they've conceded half the amount of goals you would expect. So maybe Bournemouth are not as good defensively as what they may appear. But we will talk about that a little bit more on Friday. I will also do a tactical preview video on that game as well. In terms of videos before that, Lenny Yoro today. What day is it? Tuesday? Yeah, Lenny Yoro today. Tomorrow, I don't know. Tomorrow, I don't know what the video will be. Thursday will then be a tactical preview for Bournemouth. Friday, we won't have a video because if I upload at 6 p.m. and then United play at 8 p.m, it clashes anyway. But Saturday morning, we will be covering what is hopefully a win against Bournemouth. So that is the plan for the next few days. Yeah, as Henrik has said, we currently sit third in the Premier League. We're having a great time. We're winning football matches. We're playing entertaining football, scoring a lot of goals. A lot of goals. The only team in the Premier League this weekend to score more than 2. Prior to the game last night, we scored a quarter of the goals in the league this weekend. Insane, best football club in the world. Hopefully going to sort of produce football that reflects it and trophies that reflect it quite soon. Will it be Carrick? The conclusion from today, 73% of people in the poll saying Carrick, yes, should get the full-time job at Manchester United. 27% saying nah, which is understandable. Again, a lot of football still to be played. 8 games to go. 8 big games for Manchester United. I don't know, though. There's a weird world where I sort of feel win the next 3 and... I don't want to go too early and say we're safe, but we're looking good, aren't we? We are looking good. Very good. Anyway, that is all for today. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please leave a like before you go. Subscribe if you wouldn't mind. Thank you to everyone waffling, rabbiting along in the chat today. It's been great to talk to you all. Thanks for everyone that has liked, subscribed, joined the Discord, which is linked in the description, checked out the second channel, left a super chat, gifted memberships, renewed your memberships. You are all absolute legends. I appreciate you all very, very much. And we'll see you for another stream on Friday and just videos pretty consistently for the next few weeks. So I will see you in one of them, I guess.